Hello, everyone. My name is Serafi, and it is Wednesday, my dudes! Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wildcard Wednesdays, Episode 4, Yosenju. Yosenju monsters are a group of beast warrior monsters that have some interesting effects. They kind of circumvent a lot of the rules of how dual monsters are typically seen and used, and that makes them very interesting, and it means that you can use a lot of unique tech options with this deck. Yosenjus are level 4 monsters, and their gimmick is when you normal summon one of them, you can immediately after you normal summon it, activate its effect, and if it resolves, you get another normal summon of a Yosenju specifically. So in this way, they're a lot like Floowandereeze before Floowandereeze came out. The different monsters being able to be normal summoned multiple times gives you some interesting choices. The restriction of special summoning on Pot of Duality, for example, does not apply when you can normal summon 3 times in one turn. You'll have 3 monsters, but you still didn't special summon. So Pot of Duality can give you some great advantage. Another thing that's very unique about Yosenju monsters is that during the end of the turn that they were normal summoned, they return to the hand. That's kind of the price that you pay for having so many free normal summons. But what that means is cards like Dark Hole and Drowning Mirror Force become more impactful because you are punished less for cards like these because you're not running any monster. And you might think, okay, well, how am I supposed to protect myself during my opponent's turn if I don't have any monsters that can stay on the field? Well, besides Drowning Mirror Force, you also have the unique Yosenju trap card, Yosenju Sword Sting. I'm sure at this point a lot of you are familiar with how powerful compulsory evacuation device is. Well, Yosenju Sword Sting is a unlimited compulse that hits 2 cards instead of just 1. And it can hit face-up spell and traps as well as monsters. It has to be a face-up target, so you can't hit face-down monsters. But you shouldn't need to. Pass your turn if you go first. Your opponent is going to want to get aggressive because they see that you don't have any cards on the field. They will try and commit as many monsters as they can to the board, and you just activate Yosenju Sword Sting when they have 2 monsters out. Return both those monsters to the hand. That will disrupt a lot of their plays, and they've already committed some resources to summoning at 1 or more of those monsters. This puts you in a great position to mount a counterattack. Now, Yosenju Sword Sting is a hard once per turn, but you also have Drowning Mirror Force, you also have Warning Point, and you have Kite Ride, so there are a lot of ways that you can survive through the turn. Besides the ability to normal summon multiple times, each Yosenju has their own unique effect. Comma 1 allows you to compulse if you have another monster on the field that's a Yosenju monster, so even more bouncing. Comma 2, which can attack directly, but if it attacks directly using its own effect as opposed to just attacking directly because your opponent has no monsters, it does half damage. And comma 3, if a Yosenju monster that is not comma 3 inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can draw a Yosenju card, not just a monster, except Yosenju comma 3, once per turn. 2 and 3 let you draw 1. 1 is the most important, of course, because 1 gives you the most control over the board. Then you also have Yosenju Izna. Yosenju Izna allows you to draw a card if you control another Yosenju monster, but unlike the other Yosenjus, it does not give you an additional normal summon. So you would want to play comma 1 and maybe comma 2 or comma 3, and then for the 3rd summon you play Izna, and then you can get an extra draw. These cards have a lot of synergy with other cards. So for example, if you wanted to build a more heavily focused Compulse list, you could put in Compulse. So Compulse is great tech. Maybe you want to cut the tankies and go for a more control build as opposed to a more focused, fast win build. Tenki, of course, allows you to search any Yosenju, so it's really powerful, but it does take up space on your board afterwards. Maybe you want to use the additional value of returning monsters to the hand to combine with Kaijus. So if you tribute one of your opponent's monster for Dogoran the Mad Flame Kaiju, and then you return Dogoran the Mad Flame Kaiju with Yosenju comma 1, it will go back to your hand. You can special summon Dogoran the Mad Flame Kaiju as many times as you can per turn, as long as your opponent doesn't control a Kaiju monster. So if you have Dogoran out, and then you bounce it, you can play it again, and if you can bounce it again, you can play it again. You can tribute literally every monster on your opponent's field, as long as you can continuously return Dogoran to your hand. Same with any other kaiju like Raiden, or same with Lava Golem, or Santa Claus, or Volcanic Queen. These are all options if you want to lean into the unique effects that Yosenjus provide. For the skill, Destiny Draw is the best one. There's not really a Yosenju focused skill. Silvio's skills focus around the Myosenjus as opposed to Yosenjus, and Destiny Draw is just a really good skill. Gives you whatever you need, whether that's control, removal, or monsters. As for the extra deck, it's a generic Reg 4 toolbox. We have Giant Hand if you're going first on turn 1. Decent option. Abyss Dweller is usually better, but both those options work pretty well. Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon allows you to take the board back. Then you have the Utopia combo of Utopia and Utopia Ray if you're low on life points. You can use Kite Roid to allow yourself to bait getting low, combine with Destiny Draw, make sure that you can draw the card that you need to make Utopia. Then use Utopia Ray to OTK your opponent. Or you can go from Utopia into Utopia the Lightning to get yourself that Armades, ignore any cards your opponent activates, and then also have 5,000 attack, crash in for lethal a lot of the times. Malevolent Sin is just a good card. And then you have number 91 Thunder Spark Dragon, which is a unique card because it requires 3 level 4s, so even though it's in the game, it's really powerful. It doesn't see a whole lot of play. But because you can very easily summon 3 level 4s at one time, this effect is pretty powerful. You summon it, it's got 2,400 attack points, and you can attach 3 Xyz materials from this card to destroy all other face-up monsters on the field. Since you won't have any other face-up monsters because you can only summon 3 monsters at a time, you can easily use this to destroy your opponent's entire board, very similar to how you play Dark Hole. And you can play 3 Dark Holes as well. It's always an option. I just have 1 in this list. I think this list is probably the most optimal, but definitely you can experiment, see if the Kaiju version is better. Regardless, it's a fun deck. These cards are very interesting. They have a very strong control element. I like them a lot, and I encourage all of you to try and experiment with them. Well, that was the build for this week. Thank you very much for tuning into Wildcard Wednesdays. My name is Serafi. I was thrilled to have you all with me.